because you had said that you've been meditating since that you were like 2 or 3 years old. So I'm kind of wondering what you mean by that.
Well, okay, let's talk about that because when I was 2 or 3 years old, I didn't know what I was doing. But I used to lay in bed and I'd take my thumbs and fingers and I'd kind of push my eyes, gently so they'd be focused on the spiritual eye. I didn't know what I was doing. I just, I was focused here and then I could see lights, and sometimes I take my thumbs and put them over my ears and then I'm doing these funny things. I don't know where I learned that. It was just, but I used to do that. And I was really, at that age, experiencing things, including visits of, of beings and everything else. So, yeah, so I started off, of course, my mother was in self-realization fellowship since 1940. So I kind of started off 1946 from the crib, be hanging around somebody that's meditating, and probably when I was in a room. But I started right off with no real instructions, but just kind of making it up as I went along. And throughout my life, I've learned techniques, Kriya Yoga and Hamsa and Om technique and all these other techniques. And it doesn't matter what I use. I really kind of think it's your intentions. The divine listens to a child's prayer and love-given meditation as much or more than the scholar. You go with your heart. So to me, a child just praying with their heart and reaching out and talking to God, it's a beautiful thing. And so, yeah, that's right. So I kind of started off on that edge. And then as I went through my younger years, I had some major health issues. I don't know if you've read any of my books or anything, but I was in a hospital for a year, which is a long time back then. It's still a long time for kidney disease and lung disease and all kinds of other issues. And basically, I was out of my house. I was at a county hospital, and they had control. And I spent 1 year. 1 year. I missed almost all but 3 weeks of third grade, which is, it was kind of lonely. But with visitors only once a week for about 10 to 15, 20 minutes, once a week, and the rest of the time by myself or one or two other kids in a room, but mostly by myself. I learned something at 8, 9 years old that I would have never learned elsewhere. And that's how to spend time alone and in the quiet. What do you do with your mind? If you're a hyperactive kid and you're really wanting to do stuff and all of a sudden, now boom, there you're in bed, restricted to bed only. I wasn't allowed to get up out of bed for a year. So I was captive and I didn't have a TV, didn't have a phone, didn't have magazines, newspapers, coloring books, nothing. Zero entertainment. Nurses would come in the morning. They would wake you up out of, the shift changed at 6 o'clock, right? They come and wake you up to take your vitals, right? There's no purpose for me to get up at that hour, but there you are. And then you don't go to bed till the shift changes at night. Somebody comes by and turns the light off at 8 or 9 o'clock. So it was almost like monk training. It's like if you wanted to become this person, if you're one of these monks that does karate, they do the fingers and they go through the pain and all. Well, this is a little different. I was going through the mental, emotional stuff where I was taken away from family, taken away from friends, taken away from toys, entertainment, total vacuum of nothing except me all day. They'd come by 3-4 times a day to make sure I was fed, giving shots, treatments. That was it. So that was one of the most beautiful things that ever happened to me. And people go, how can you say it's the most beautiful thing? Well, because it taught me so much. I have all the patience in the world. I can show up someplace and like the VA now, you go to the VA for treatment. You got an appointment at noon or 1 o'clock. Well, you might not even see anybody until 5. I can sit there without any magazines done. I can just sit there and I'm not there. I'm zoned out. So I've learned a long time ago to just take it all within and go forward. So when I was in high school, I was experiencing lots of stuff. I was, for example, when Kennedy was assassinated, well, I was bothered for about 2, 3 weeks prior to that with these visions. And they weren't black and white visions. That's the funny thing about it. Usually you have visions and dreams and stuff, and it's in color, right? This was black and white, just like black and white TV. It was really weird because I saw the little son, John Jr. saluting in black and white. And I saw the casket being carried down the street in black and white. I saw the assassination, except maybe it wasn't totally accurate because in my view, I saw somebody else shooting Kennedy as well. So, but all the government says that didn't happen. So what do I know? I was only there in a vision. So I went to my school principal and told him, hey, look, man, things are going to happen. I told a couple of close friends, hey, things are going to happen. And everybody goes, okay, Bill. Yeah. Now, nowadays, with the advent of the internet, if I'd been a high school kid and I posted on there that Kennedy was going to get killed in Dallas, Texas in the month of November, I would have had the FBI at my doorstep, right? Back then I'm saying it and nobody's paying attention to me. And I told people, no, he's going to get killed this week. And then pretty soon it was going to get killed like within a day or two, right? Yeah, Bill, yeah. And then it happened. And then when I saw the television broadcast for the next 3 days, all in black and white with everything I saw already, it was like, wow. It was like I watched TV 2, 3 weeks ahead of time. So that type of thing was normal. And these things were happening to me all along. And then I graduated high school. And within 24 hours of graduating high school, I went to Hawaii. I mean, I was an 18-year-old punk kid, didn't know nothing, literally didn't know nothing. And I had $40, a one-way ticket, a surf and wax, bag of clothes, and I'm ready for the world, right? So I had a lot to learn, but I ran into a kahuna priest, David K. Bray, Big Daddy, and took me in, and I had an apprenticeship, and I was learning the ancient wisdom and stuff of the kahuna religion, which according to Indians, I've talked to an Indian, to Yogaraj Gurnoff, the kahuna religion is the closest thing outside of the Himalayan area to the Nath tradition. In other words, except for the cultural aspects, the chanting, the spells, the magic, the general beliefs about energy and nature spirits and all this kind of stuff, the terminology was different, the culture was different, but the essence of it, it was the same flow. It was the same river going to the same ocean. And so that's what I was told. But I studied under this guy for the summer of 1964, and he offered me everything. This is yours. I'm going to give you all this when I'm gone. You can have all the followers. I mean, he had thousands of people. And I didn't want it. It wasn't what I was looking for. That wasn't it. Been there, done that, don't need it. And went on. Came back to the United States and worked a bunch of jobs, got some money saved up, hitchhiked from San Francisco. This is the old days. From San Francisco to New York. I didn't realize how far it was. I looked on a map and it was only this far. My map, I go, oh, here it is. It's only 6 inches across. Oh, come on, please. My God, that was a long hitchhike. And then I got on an airplane, flew. This time I had a round trip ticket with an open return date. And I flew to Luxembourg, and then I hitchhiked all around Europe and had some phenomenal experiences. One of my experiences was I went to the Notre Dame. I had this thing, I had to go to Europe. I just had to go to Europe. I had to go to France, I had to go to Italy. I had to be there. I didn't know why at the time. I went to the Notre Dame. This is back before it burned up here. And I immediately went to the back area, and there was a door, and nobody was looking. This is the old days, nobody's looking for terrorists. I stuck in this door, and I went up these stairs, and I found a window that was unlocked. It was like slightly open. And I pushed it open, and I climbed out on a ledge on the roof, up through the buttresses, all the way up to the top of the cathedral. And I'm sitting up there for 4 hours meditating on top of the Notre Dame. I mean, who does that? I mean, snipers would have got me. The SWAT team would have been after me now. But it was like, I just knew I could do it, something I wanted to do. And to be honest with you, I've been all across India and Europe and Asia and everywhere. And I always find a way to get to the roof of the temple. I don't know if it's a sacrilege or what, but I always get to the temple roof. There's such an energy. And when you're meditating on top of a holy shrine, be it Catholic, be it Hindu, be it whatever it is, it's just the energy flows from the vessel itself, the building, the temple, the church, all the way up through your spine, through the to the top of your head and out. It's just it flows and it flows back the other way.